Theresa May has resigned, will step down 7th of next month of June, and will become caretaker Prime Minister effectively until they, within the Conservatives, appoint another one. So we'll have a quick look at the reaction in the markets and potential opportunities elsewhere as well going into the last session of the week. Data-wise this morning we had retail sales, but understandably no reaction to that, or very limited, despite a slight beat on all those numbers. Obviously focus elsewhere. In an hour and a half, got durable goods out of the US, not expecting too much from that. A couple of speakers as well to be aware of, but again, data-wise, not going to see too much in the way of movement, I would presume, going forward. Overnight, I'll come to stocks in a moment. As you can see, they did push higher on some positive trade comments, but the pound, the main mover over the last hour or so, but quite choppy. You can see, if anything, pretty much exactly where we were on the announcement of Theresa May outside number 10. Looking at the bigger picture, that 126 we talked about for a while was still a key level. Trend line, however, from the downs from the upside coming down, you can see starting on the 13th of this month. Well respected, along with a good level of support that we found back on the 22nd, 127.29 on the futures, a key level to keep an eye on there. If we were to come lower, obviously keeping an eye on yesterday's high, 126.98 as well, as a quite key point. But it will probably remain to be seen what happens for the pound as we start going into the next process. And this from the Telegraph about how the selection of a new leader here, where the Chief Whip, currently Julian Smith, receives nominations from party members. If just one MP is nominated, they're automatically installed as party leader, like Theresa May was last time. If multiple names put forward, a ballot of Conservative MPs is held, the lowest polling name is removed, and another ballot is held. This continues on subsequent Tuesdays and Thursdays until 2 nominees remain, and then obviously it will be narrowed down to 1 from there. So who's going to be put in charge will obviously affect the pound from then. Are they more leaning of a hard Brexit and so on, will drive price of this market higher or lower, which has had a decent recovery from those lows of yesterday. Another market which did was Euro, pushing massively off that multi-year low, found good support around this bottom horizontal line, 2016, beginning of 2017, so over a couple of years ago. Stops perhaps getting triggered before spiking higher, and the higher the day is a key level from the morning of the 16th, so last Thursday. I'll be keeping an eye on that to the upside. To the downside, I wouldn't really look to get too interested unless we break the low of the day in this potential trend line that would match up around 112 on the futures. Gold, all about where we finish the week. Can we close back above this trend line, or do we have a strong finish to the downside and get back below, and suddenly next looking at that triple bottom that's acted as good support since the 23rd of April. Quickly moving over to stocks, a couple key areas I would be aware of. One being the trend line from these lows. Can that be respected? It's working well at the moment, the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones, and also the low point we had from yesterday morning, 28.43 and a half on the futures, or 3/4 depending where you have it, as a key level of resistance. Back above there, things get a bit more rosy, and over the coming days you could even see the retest of the trend line from the break yesterday. To the downside, I know we've got the pivot, the trend line, but also be looking at yesterday evening's high point, 28.24 and 3/4, the key level of support. Hope you all have a good trading day and a good bank holiday weekend.